Hi, so in this video I'll be going through lab 10. So that's another lab on just under the AZ500 Azure Security Technology series, lab series. So as for this lab, we'll be configuring the key vault, and basically we'll be implementing secure data by setting up Always Encrypted. So the Always Encrypted is just feature in key vault which helps you to protect sensitive data. So as for the lab scenario, you've been asked to create a proof of concept application that makes use of the Azure SQL database support for Always Encrypted functionality. All the secrets and keys used in this scenario should be stored in Key Vault. The application should be registered in Microsoft Entra ID in order to enhance its security posture. To accomplish these objectives, the proof of concept should include step 1, creating an Azure Key Vault and storing keys and secrets in the Key Vault. Then step 2 is to create a SQL database and encrypting content of columns in database tables by using Always Encrypted. So as mentioned, the Always Encrypted functionality of feature will just make sure that sensitive information is even better protected in the Azure Key Vault. Then if you don't understand what Azure Key Vault is, just try to take it that this is a service provided by the Microsoft Azure platform, whereby you can store things like your secrets, your keys, and even your certificates. So it stores them and safeguards the access to these objects. Ideally, they are called objects. So it's important to note that we'll be using ACOS region for our deployment, at least in this lab. Then to keep the focus on the security aspects of Azure related to building this proof of concept, you'll start from an automated ARM, which is Azure Resource Manager template, template deployment, setting up a virtual machine with Visual Studio 2019 and SQL Server Management Studio 19. So the lab objectives are as follows. In exercise 1, you will deploy the base infrastructure from an ARM template. Then exercise 2 will configure the key vault resource with a key and a secret. So that's what we'll be storing inside the key vault. Then exercise 3 will configure an Azure SQL database and a data-driven application. Then exercise 4 will just demonstrate the use of Azure Key Vault in encrypting the Azure SQL database. So we have a topology, actually a diagram of how the entire, if I can say, topology will look like after all these tasks have been completed. So to follow along in this lab, you'll need some files. So right now I'm using the lab instructions from the GitHub page. You can just look that up and make sure you're using the GitHub link as well. So to get the lab instructions, you can just duplicate the tab and navigate back to the almost parent directory, which is Azure 500, Azure Security Technologies. Then select the all files. If I can just show it to you. So I'm in the parent directory. Then you need to go into the all files /labs folder. Then within this directory we have even more directories. So we are looking for lab 10. This is it, the folder that we want, lab 10. So we'll be using some of the documents in this folder. Okay. So as for exercise 1, which is by the way, the lab itself is estimated to take about 60 minutes for you to complete it, but because I'll be recording, it may take more than 60 minutes. So as for exercise 1, we need to deploy the base infrastructure from an ARM template. So in this exercise, you will complete the following tasks. Task 1, deploy an Azure virtual machine in an Azure SQL database. So that's the purpose of the ARM template. Task 1, deploy an Azure virtual machine in an Azure SQL database. In this task, you will deploy an Azure virtual machine which will automatically install Visual Studio 2019 and SQL Server Management Studio 19 as part of the deployment. So we need to sign into the Microsoft Azure portal. Then note that sign into the Azure portal using an account that has the owner or contributor role in the Azure subscription you are using for this lab. So be keen on that. In the Azure portal, we need to search for deploy a custom template. I'll just switch back to the Azure portal, and right here you need to search for custom deployment. Yeah, this is the option. Deployment template. Template deployment. Deploy using custom template. That's what you need to click on. Then on the custom deployment blade, click the build your own template in the editor. So you need to click on build. Then on the edit template blade, click load file. So we'll need to get this file, the AZ500 Azure deploy.json. So if I can just switch tab to the other GitHub directory, this is the file that we need. So I'll just I'll select the file and download it as a raw file using this button. So it's a tiny file, it shouldn't take long. Then let's see, so we need to click load file. Then we'll select the file that we've downloaded. So I'll click on load file here, load file. Then I'll just upload this file that from downloading it, this one. So this is the file itself. I'll just go through it briefly. Notice that we have some parameters here. We have the admin username and admin password. We need to pay attention on these two. Then admin username and the admin password. So the admin username is set to student, and the password currently is set to that's the password right there. So I had to go over it. So I'll just take a note of the two username and password, that is. Then password is that. Just copy it. You can actually change it, so but I'll leave it as it is because I've taken note of it. Okay, so that's done. Then the next thing is on the edit template blade, click save. So this is the template itself. You can go through it if you're interested to see what it will be deploying. So you can see, and let me see what's here. And the resources, we have type, we have Microsoft storage account. So I guess it will be deploying a storage account. SKU is that PI version, properties, PI version type. There's so much that it will be deploying here. And I see something else here. You can see that it will be deploying another resource, virtual machines, and under that virtual machine to be deploying an extension to that virtual machine. There's so much inside here, but anyway, we can click on save at this point. This is the option right there, so click on that button, save. Then we need to do some tweaking on the custom deployment blade. Under deployment scope, ensure that the following settings are configured. Leave any others with their default values. So subscription, you need to select your the subscription that you're using. Then as for the resource group, we'll be creating a new resource group, so I'll just copy this name, Control C for that. If you're wondering which is the name, this is the name. Then this will be our location, and this will be the admin username, like you saw earlier. Admin password, please use your personal password. I think I'll go with the password that I saw in that template. So yeah, let me just create a new resource group. Create a new resource group, paste it there, click OK. Then as for the region, it's it's US. Then password is student. And as for the password, admin password. Okay, so I guess we can change the password here. That's why I received that prompt that the password is found in a breach. So I won't be using the default password. I'll need to change it. So let me just change this password to something. I'll take a note of password 2, and I can say password. That will be my password. Then I'll just copy it. I'll paste it there. Then click on next. Just see what's there. So while you can change the administrative credentials, use for logging onto the virtual machines, you don't have to. Yeah, so it's not a must that you change that password, like I said, but because of the prompt that I got, I just decided to change the password. Then another thing to note is that 25 Azure regions, there's no need for that. Then at this point in section number 7, you can just review and create. Then we'll need to confirm that deployment so that you can go ahead. So I'll click on create. So this will seems to be taking a moment. So the deployment is in progress. I'll just give it some time to wind up. So following through the instructions, it's important to note here that the deployment of the first section may take up to 20 to 25 minutes. So it's recommended to proceed to the next exercise, which is exercise 2. And under exercise 2 will be configuring the key vault resource with a key and a secret. So ideally we'll just deploy the key vault resource. Then within the key vault, we'll be storing a key and the secrets inside it. So still we'll be using ACUS region. In this exercise, you'll complete the following tasks: create and configure a key vault, add a key to the key vault, add a secret to the key vault. So let's see. So we'll be using PowerShell to deploy the key vault. We need to open, go back to the portal. So if in the home page, wherever you are, to access PowerShell, this is what you need to click. There's that button right there. That's for PowerShell. So just click there, and it says that if prompted to create a storage, just go ahead and create one. Then ensure PowerShell is the selected PowerShell is selected. So this is the point to just do that change if you are on Bash. So you hit on the drop down button and make that change if necessary. In the PowerShell session, within the Cloud Shell pane, and the following to create an Azure Key Vault in the resource group AZ500 Lab 10. So this is the resource group that we used earlier. It's same as this one. So if you choose another name for this labs resource group out of task 1, so that is if in case you in this task 1 you created a different resource group, make sure that you reference that resource group at this point. The Key Vault name must be unique, because what happens is that Microsoft Azure will be using that Key Vault name as a DNS record for you to access it publicly if that's allowed. So that's the point as why it needs to be, that's the reason why it needs to be unique. Then remember the name you have chosen. You'll need it throughout this lab, so make sure you take note on that. So I'll just copy these instructions. You can just copy it one by one, or you can copy the entire set of instruction using this button right here. So I'll just copy the entire instructions, and then before I paste it, there's a note here. It says the output of the last command will display the vault name and the vault URI. The vault URI is in the format https so that should be like fully qualified domain name address for that key vault. So you will take note of that as well. So what will happen here is that these are just variables. Key vault name will be a variable, location will be a variable as well. So ideally to be getting this command will create a key vault with a random number at the end. Hopefully that's what will happen. Then the location here, this is a location variable, so it will get our resource group name and the location where it is. Then this is the command that will now create the key vault using our location, and yeah, it will create a key vault using the key vault name and our location. So key vault name will be concatenated with our resource group name. We'll say that shortly. So I'll just key in CLS to clear the screen. Then I'll paste the entire code. You can do Ctrl+Shift+V for that. So hit return key at this point. I'll give it a moment for it to complete. Okay, great. So after about some 2 minutes, my key vault was deployed, and you should get the same details as you see on the screen if you was also as well successful in the deployment. So the key vault name, this is it right here, AZ500 key vault. As you can see, it concatenated this name AZ500KV with the random number as it was supposed to do here in the first variable. Then as for the resource group, it's still using our initial resource group. Location is East US. Resource ID, that's the resource ID of this resource, key vault resource. Then the vault URI, that's our address. We'll need to copy that. I can just highlight and copy it somewhere. So I'll just copy there and get the key vault name as well, just in case. So it's good to take notes. So I just tell that. Okay. Okay. So that's done. Then notice that the SKU here is standard. So whenever you're deploying key vaults, you have two options to deploy your key vaults. Actually, two options to choose from in terms of the SKU. SKU is just I think it's a storage keeping unit, or in other words, you can think of this as a tier. So we have the standard tier and the premium tier. So the standard tier will just support software protected keys, whereas for the premium tier will support even it will support hardware protected keys, and that will be by the use of HSM, or hardware security modules. Then so that should just inform you that we'll be making use of software protected keys, as you see shortly. Then what other detail? So you can see our soft delete, it has been enabled. This is just a security measure in when in a keyboard deployment. You can it's proper to enable this software soft delete, because it works kind of like the Windows recycle bin. So just in case it deleted something mistakenly, it goes into the recycle bin. It's the same thing here in the keyboard. It will go into a recycle bin, then you can retrieve it later before the retention period is over. So our retention period is set to 90 days. You can always set that to your own preference. Then this is another key vault measure, a security measure, patch protection. And patch protection, really what it does is that it it avoids it helps you to avoid that complete deletion of your deleted objects, or even the key vaults, even after you've deleted it and it's there in the recycle bin. So how you can think of it is that it enforces that software deletion. It enforces that soft delete period. So because sometimes you may just delete something, it goes into the recycle bin, then you want to delete it immediately. So with patch protection, that won't be possible until when the retention period is done. That's when you can now delete something permanently. Public network access is also a security measure, but in our case here it has been enabled, so that's not so secure. Then as for the access policies, we don't have any for now. And then as for the network rule set, I don't see any network rule set, but I think we'll be setting that up. So you can see here this warning: access policy is not set. No user or application have access permission to use this vault. This can happen if the vault was created by a service principal. Please use set AZ key vault access policy to set access policies. So there are two ways to grant access, or what may be termed as authorization to your key vault. Actually, to your key vault. So one way after the user has been authenticated. So the user in this case could be any of the service principals. Any of the security principals. This could be a service principal. This could be a normal user who can interact with the platform. So the way to authenticate users, the security principals, to using a key vault is through the currently it's Microsoft Entra ID. Previously it was done as Microsoft Azure ID. So that's how users get authenticated. Then after authentication, it's just proper to see what permissions the security principal has before they are allowed to work with the keyboard. So that permission, you have two ways to grant it. One is through an RBAC, that is role-based access control, which is the preferred way and actually the recommended way. And the other one is by using access policy. which is currently not set here. So we'll be doing that shortly. Now we can close the PowerShell and proceed to the next steps. So the next step is actually to just confirm the deployment of these key vaults, and for that you need to search for resource groups, and within there you'll need to find the AZ500 lab 10 resource group, so the resource group that we are working with in this lab. And then on the resource group blade you need to locate the key vault, and then on the key vault blade, so you need to select that key vault entry. You can just head into it, resources, so resource, so we need to select resource groups, this option. Then under resource groups, our resource group is the AZ500 lab 10 resource group. Select it. Then you can use this left-sided arrow to just push this other blade or this other pen to the left and have a better view of the AZ500 resource group. So I'll click there. Then within this resource group, I'll just need to locate the key vault. It's not much inside here, so this is the key vault, AZ500 key vault. So if you are doubting yourself, if this is the key vault, you can just try to reference back to the name itself. The name was this, the name of our key vault, AZ500. So you can copy that and maybe just paste it in this search box and hit enter. You should find it, and yeah, that's it. And another way to just identify if this is your key vault, you notice that it has that key icon next to it. So I'll click that entry. Then on the key vault blade in the overview section, click access policies and then click create. So in the overview, defaultly this is the blade that will open at first. So the overview section, then we need to go to click access policies. So if you're not sure where something is on screen, just always try to make use of the find functionality. So that is Control F. Then in this case you can just type in access policy, and sorry, I thought we get something there. So you can see we are getting some results. We have about 3 results. So we have this other one, and then we have this access policy. So control key, I think this is the area. So this is the area that we need to go to, because you're seeing the overview. So as you can see here, we have 2 ways of configuring access to the key vault. One is through the access policies, and then the second way is through the RBAC. So that is basically identity and access management, which is just RBAC. So I'll click on access policies. Then we need to come up with a new access policy. So these are the configurations that we'll make in the new access policy. So configure from template, which is optional. Before we get there, we need to click on create right here. I'll click create, and then so specify the following settings, and we'll be leaving everything else as default. Configure from template, optional. Let's see where that is. There's so much here. Let me just use the finder once again. Configure from template, see if it's there, and yes, this is it. It was just right there all along. This is it. So configure from templates. The values to be selected are keys, secrets, and certificate management. Let me see if this is right here. So this is the option: key, secret, and certificate management. So I'll select that. Then under key permissions, click select all, resulting in a total of 9 selected permission. So that is key permissions. Key permissions, this is it, this block right here. So let's see how many are there. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So 9 permissions. So ideally these are the permissions that are associated with the keys in the Azure Key Vault. So you can with these permissions checked, all checked like this, you can get get, or in other words, yeah, you can get the keys. You can list them. You can update the keys. You can create new ones. You can import them. You can delete them. You can recover them. You can back them up. You can restore, etc. And then under key permissions / cryptographic operations, so let's just scroll down. I think this is it, this block right here. Let me see this one right here. So let's see what we have to say there. Click sign, resulting in a total of 1 selected permission. So this is it, sign. That's our option. Then under secret permissions, click select all, resulting in a total of 7 selected. Where is that? Secret permission. So I'll just scroll up, and these are the secret permissions, 7 of them. Then under certification permissions, click select all, resulting in total of 15 selected permissions, certification permissions. Yeah, this is the block. Then select principal, click none selected on the principal blade, select your user account and click next. So where is that? So I guess that's the next tab right here. We are supposed to go to this other tab, but just to be sure, I'll just use the control F to find if there's any other principal name here. So there's none. We are just supposed to move to the next tab. You can click on this tab right here, or you can use this next button right there. So I'll just click on principal. Then you need to select your principal. So basically that's like the email address that you're using. If you're not sure what's your email address, just reference it from this point. So like for me, that right there is my principal. So cloud security, that's what I'll be looking for here. I'll just type in cloud. So cloud infrastructure, cloud security. And this is it, cloud security. So you can see it's selected here. Then the next thing is to, on the application optional, click next. So application optional, I'll just click next to get to the application optional. Let's see what you set. We're not set anything there, we just to review and create. So I'll click next to review and create. So those are the configurations that we made, and then I can just click on create now. Yeah, so there's a note here: the previous review plus create operation returns the access policies page that lists application, email, key permissions, secret permission, and certificate permissions. Okay, So I'll just give it some time to wind up. So after it's done, this is the blade where it returns to. It's just the access policy blade, and it will show you the principal name, the principal that you assign those permission to. So in my case, that's me right here, cloud security. That's my principal. That's that's my username, kind of like the username, and this is the email address associated with that ID or identity, and these are the permissions that I'll be working with in terms of the keys, the secrets, and certificates. Yeah, maybe at this point just to just talk about what's keys, secrets, and certificates. Keys are just the cryptographic keys that you use to do the encryption. And then as for the secrets are what you need to protect. This could be things like your passwords. This could be maybe if something like a username if you want to do that. But just know, ideally, secrets are objects or the details that you want to protect and keep to ensure that you have that access control on who has access to it and at what level. Then certificates, these are just like the normal certificates that they do the same role as the normal certificates. So they're there to serve as a trust broker between one application and the object and the subject. So if a user is trying to access maybe an application that makes use of a certificate, this certificate is just there to guarantee that trust that this is the correct application, and maybe this is the client that should be accessing the application. So moving forward, the next thing is to add a key into these key vaults. So we have a graphical way of doing this, but we'll be using CLI. And in terms of the graphical way, this is the section that you go to. So under objects, so I think you already noticed that these keys, secrets, and certificates, they are referred to as objects in the key vault. So whenever you hear of objects in the key vault, just think of keys, secrets, certificate, could be any of that. So to add a key into the key vault, we'll use partial, and this is the command that we'll be using. So I'll just copy it once again, like we copied the previous block of commands. I clicked on these two overlapping square boxes. Then I'll go back to partial, click on partial. Then just to go over it briefly, this is a variable once again, so it will make a call to our key vault. So ideally, you can see here, get AZ key vault, so it will get our key vault name, and this is the key vault name, and store that in this variable. Then okay, it will get our key vault from this resource group, so this is the resource group name. Then it will show it in as a variable. Then the key, now we have a key variable here, but now what it will be doing is the variable we do is that it will add a key into that key vault, and it just provides the key vault name here. This is it. From it will take it from the previous variable up here. Then the name of our key will be my lab key, and the destination will be software, because we are working with the software protected keys. So I'll just do CLS to clear the screen, and paste in the entire block of code, Control-Shift-V for that. So at that point, once you see your cursor blinking at that point, just hit the return key or the enter key. Then give it a moment there to add the key. So the key should be added. You can confirm this graphically. I guess it it will show. So I can just go under objects in the portal here. I'll click on keys. I think we should be able to see a key there. So we have a key, and you can see that the name here under my under the key under the name column we have my lab key, and status is enabled. So that's it. The CLI way of doing this is to use this command. It will just get the key ID. I can paste that here, Control Shift V for that. Sorry. Yeah, that's it. So key ID, let's see if it will get it, and that's the key ID. So notice this is the key vault name .vault.azure.net. so .vault.azure.net is just a suffix that is automatically added to your unique key vault name. Then /keys /my lab keys, /keys, that's the object that you're getting. You say the key, is it a key, is it a certificate, is it a secret? So we're getting a key object, so that's why we see keys like what's presented here under objects. Then under keys, you can imagine of it like a folder. So under that key, what are we getting? Within that key folder, what are we getting? So we're getting my lab key specifically, and the key ID, this is the key ID. So whenever you store these objects in the key vault, the way they're stored is they will be immutable, so you won't be able to delete the objects. So because of that, you can only create, if you want to update that key, you can create tags for it, but then updating the object itself is not possible. So you can only come up with new keys, new versions of these keys. So there will be these IDs, key IDs, to identify the different versions of the key, so that it can kind of help you in terms of version control, and that's that can come in handy in future when maybe you just made an error and you wish to roll back to a previous key or a secret or certificate that you're using. So I'll just copy this key ID just in case we need it later. See. So copy that, then I'll just type in key ID. And paste it there. And yeah, so we can move forward from here. Then you're told to minimize the Cloud Shell pane, so don't close it. Back in the Azure portal, on the key vault blade, in the objects section, click on keys. In the list of keys, click my lab key entry, and then on my lab key blade, click the entry representing the current version of the key. So let's just do that. I'll minimize this by clicking on the minus icon on that on the PowerShell. So click there. So the next thing to do, since I'm in the keys blade, I'll just click on this entry, my lab key. Then this is the current version. So as I told you earlier, we can create different versions of these keys. So I'll just click on that entry, and this is the link to it, the same link that I just copied. So you're asked to examine the information about the key you created. You can reference any key by using the key identifier. So to get the most current version, reference using this first link, my lab key. So if you just do it generally, for instance, if we just use in our case here, we created a key that is my lab key. If you just use such a link without specifying the version of that key, yeah, this is the, where is that link? So I'll use this slide. So this this last portion here, there is where it starts with 48. This last portion here, that is the key ID. So without inputting that key ID, then what it will do is whenever you can try to access that key, it will just bring you the most recent or the latest version of that key. Otherwise, if you need to access or reference any other previous version of the key, then you need to specify the key version.